Yarber versus Lumumba. The two candidates square off in our mayoral debate, plus comments from you about the Jackson mayor's race.
And coming up, pothole problems. The recent rain is causing new headaches for drivers around the metro. 16 WAPT News continues now.
The one to watch. This is 16 WAPT News at 6.
Good morning on this Thursday, April 17th. I'm Marcus Hunter.
And I'm Keegan Fox. Happening now, a silver alert. The Highway Patrol is looking for a Noxubee County man this morning. We have all the details just ahead.
And also this morning, bloody battles in Ukraine. The pressure is on talks today in Geneva.
And this morning, as many as 300 people may have went down with a sunken ship. We have an update on the search off the coast of South Korea. More headlines in a moment. Let's get it started with meteorologist Brittany Bell and weather first.
We're getting out to another cool start to our Thursday, but right now we do have a nice sunrise looking outside our sky cam in South Jackson with a few thin high cirrus clouds out and about. Temperature-wise, though, on the cool side, mostly in the low to mid 40s. It's down to 41 degrees in Jackson. 38 degrees is our cool spot this morning in Forest, 46 degrees in Lexington, and 48 degrees in Macomb. So today we'll have more cloud cover streaming in, but we'll have a high of 70 degrees, so much warmer compared to the last few days. So will this nice and warm weather stick around throughout our Easter weekend? I'll have the answer coming up.
Now to our Commitment 2014 coverage this morning. Sparks flew last night at our Jackson mayoral runoff debate. Tony Yarber and Chokwe Antar Lumumba met on stage last night. Their exchanges were more intense and the jabs were much sharper than any other time in this race.
But Mr. Lumumba, you can't say you're for the people when you didn't ask the people if they were willing to have their waterways raised. You can't,
we absolutely did.
No,
we
sir.
absolutely did.
You
we went into communities and we informed people.
You
didn't happen to join us, but we were there.
You went and informed the people about a 1% sales tax. Your father called me on the day of the meeting in my neighborhood and apologized. Mr. Lumumba, I'm the chairman of the budget. I understand the process. I'm not asking you about the process. I'm asking you, what are you going to do to remedy this problem?
If I can address that.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I will answer this question. I run my own law firm and I deal with a budget every day. I make certain that I meet payroll. I have never dealt with a $500 million. I've never managed a $500 million budget. And neither have you, Councilman Yarber.
Coming up a little bit later, we're going to hear more from the candidates, plus from voters in the audience last night at MC School of Law. Meanwhile, we're getting ready for the runoff election on Tuesday. Stay with 16 WAPT for the latest on the candidates before you head back to the polls. And join us Tuesday night for all of the election results. You'll also find updates at WAPT.com. This brings us to our question of the day. Who do you think won last night's debate? Let us know on Facebook or Twitter.
The recent heavy rains are causing a new headache for drivers. Potholes. Our Tiffany Bradley joins us live on Capitol Street in Jackson. And Tiffany, what can you tell us out there?
Well, Marcus, we found several potholes here on Capitol Street near downtown this morning, and it's making for a bumpy ride for drivers. Of course, this is just one of the many places that we've spotted potholes throughout Jackson. The city officials say the recent heavy rain and flooding is causing more potholes to appear on area roads. Check out this pothole on Forest Hill Drive in Jackson. It popped the tires of at least 5 vehicles during the evening commute yesterday. Our assignment manager, John Parker, went out to help some of the drivers. JPD sent officers to direct cars around the hole, and the city says they are working to fix it. Now back out here live at Capitol Street, there are several potholes out here, and there are no markers or caution cones warning drivers about the potholes. So if you're driving anywhere throughout Jackson this morning, drive it slowly, because you may not have any caution cones or anything to let you know that there's a pothole that is that is on the roadway. Live in Jackson, Tiffany Bradley, 16 WAPT News.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. Well, this morning, a 21-year-old man is recovering after he was hit by a school bus. The Hinds County Sheriff's Office tells us that the man was hit in Edwards off of Mount Moriah Road and Williamson Avenue. Now, he reportedly was knocked down into a ditch and then taken to the hospital. No word on the extent of his injuries. Gridlock on Highway 49 in Simpson County yesterday after a log truck flipped over and made a mess. The 18-wheeler swerved to avoid hitting another vehicle and flipped over. Officials closed 49 North near Mendenhall for several hours while crews removed all of those logs from the highway.
This morning, a silver alert is in effect for a missing 71-year-old Mississippi man. James Sonny McLeod was last seen at 7:30 Tuesday morning in Macon. The State Highway Patrol says he may suffer from a medical condition that affects his memory and thinking. He's about 6 feet tall with black and gray hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing jeans, a jean jacket, and flip-flops. Call the Noxubee County Sheriff's Office if you have any information. You can see that number listed right there on your screen. Meanwhile, we have an update this morning on another silver alert case. Family members of a missing Terry woman say police doubt that she is anywhere near her home. 78-year-old Hazel Williams has been missing for more than a week. She has Alzheimer's. Relatives say she may have wandered off from her home on Bozeman Road. Family members tell us nothing from her home is missing and her cash and ID were left behind. They now say someone may have picked her up. Well, the conflict in Ukraine is becoming more deadly, with 3 people killed and more than a dozen others hurt after an attack in the country's eastern region.
Yeah, Hallie Jackson is in Washington with more.
Marcus and Keegan, today the Russian president is saying people in eastern Ukraine are rising up against their central government after it ignored their rights. His new remarks coming as negotiators from Moscow, Kiev, the European Union and the U.S. meet for the first time since the situation in Ukraine intensified. Secretary of State John Kerry is in Switzerland for today's meetings, but the State Department warns keep expectations in check.
I wouldn't put it all in this meeting, right? This isn't sort of the whole ball game. This isn't the end-all, be-all.
The U.S. wants Russia to stand down along the border of eastern Ukraine, where the conflict between pro-Russian separatists and Ukraine's military is escalating. In this city on the Black Sea, where protests have lasted days, Ukrainian officials say about 300 people armed with Molotov cocktails attacked a National Guard base, leaving 3 people dead. Elsewhere, Ukraine's military could only fly overhead after its tanks were blocked by locals in Donetsk and handed to the separatists. Convoys flying Russian flags rolled through the region. This morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin called the claim of Moscow's military presence inside eastern Ukraine nonsense.
Russia has no plans to intervene militarily.
Today, Ukrainian negotiators are expected to tell Russian diplomats what they're doing to let local regions have a little more autonomy, although the Obama administration is downplaying hopes Moscow will make enough concessions to avoid new sanctions. And those penalties could hit more of President Putin's closest confidants. The U.S. is also considering helping Ukraine's military by providing clothes and medical supplies. In Washington, I'm Hallie Jackson, 16 WAPT News.
NATO is boosting its members' presence in countries in Eastern Europe. Its top military commanders say that those moves are defensive and designed to assure allies.
This morning, a movie director in hot water. The accusations against the director of the X-Men.
And as we head to break, the sun is rising over the metro. This is our I-55 Hilton Skycam. Meteorologist Brittany Bell has your full forecast in just a moment. You're watching 16 WAPT News.